Hey, this is Tom Atkins. You're listening to Nightwatch. Thrill me, man.
Happy, happy Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. Happy, happy Halloween, Silver Shamrock. Happy, happy Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. Happy, happy Halloween, Silver Shamrock.
It's almost time, kids. The clock is ticking. Be in front of your TV sets for the Horathon. And remember the big giveaway at 9. Don't miss it. And don't forget to wear your masks. The clock is ticking. It's almost time.
Happy, happy Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. Happy, happy Halloween, Silver Shamrock. Happy, happy Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. Happy, happy Halloween, Silver Shamrock.
This is Halloween, pumpkins scream in the dead of night. This is Halloween, everybody make a scene, trick or treat. Tell the neighbors gonna die of rain. It's our town, everybody scream. It's town of Halloween.
I am the one hiding under your bed, teeth ground sharp and eyes glowing red.
I am the one hiding under your stairs, fingers like snakes and spiders in my hair.
This is Halloween, this is Halloween, 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 Halloween. In this town we call home, everyone hail to the pumpkin song. Halloween, Halloween,
Listen.
Sweet dreams are made of this. Who am I to disagree? Travel the world and the 7 seas. Everybody's looking for something.
When hinges creak in doorless chambers, and strange and frightening sounds echo through the halls, whenever candlelights flicker, where the air is deathly still, that is the time when ghosts are present, practicing their terror with ghoulish delight. There's no turning back now.
Just after sundown, when darkness creeps over the land, the dark figures lurk in the shadows, the fangs glisten in the moonlight, and the ghosts of the world become restless. We begin our journey. Join us as we travel into the world of the paranormal, the supernatural, and the bizarre. On Nightwatch, with your hosts, Todd Sheets, Chris Weisbach, and Hugh McClanahan. Nightwatch.
And welcome to Nightwatch. I'm your host, as always, Todd Sheets, here with Chris Weisbach.
Good evening, everyone.
How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing well.
Man, so glad you can make it. And Johnny Reed.
Green salutations.
I cannot take a whole lot of time for introductions because if you don't know who our first guest is tonight, then I don't know where you've been hiding for the last 20 years. When I talk about influences and people who have really had an impact on my life, our guest tonight is right at the top of that list. I mean, honestly, imagination, talent, it's just such an amazing package. And thanks to this man, my musical life has been very vivid, very exciting, and full of things that go bump in the night. Everyone, welcome to the show, King Diamond.
Hey, thank you so much, man.
Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know how it feels to be such an icon. I've got to ask you, first thing is, what does it feel like to be the king?
I don't know how to answer that. We're appreciating every day we get, I guess, especially after what happened a couple of years ago. So don't take anything for granted anymore, and just enjoying whatever we get. And we're getting back up full power again. We did these 2 festivals this summer. And they were actually tests for seeing if my health was back to where we can do shows and all this stuff. And there was no problems there. Actually the voice is better than ever. I stopped smoking, changed my habits of eating, and doing exercising. And it was easier getting through the shows. The voice is clearer. It's much easier to hit the notes now than it ever was. And then with the health issue being under control, and in better shape, it was easier to go through the shows. It was like afterwards, are we done? Okay, well, guess that was it then. So let's do the next one. So it's a very different experience now, but in a positive way.
Man, I got to tell you, you are an inspiration for me because over the summer, I've never drank, I've never smoked, I've never done any drugs, I've never done anything. But over the summer or the spring, in April, I had a heart attack and I had to have quadruple bypass surgery.
You did?
Yeah, it was terrible. And I got to tell you, it was a big inspiration for me because I had seen you go through something so similar and how you have bounced back and you're still continuing on with your dreams and your career. And that really helps a lot of people like myself, because I tell you what, when you're laying in that bed, you kind of want to give up. It's really great to be able to look toward people like yourself and go, you know what, King didn't give up. I'm not giving up.
There you go.
Yeah, I had a triple bypass there, and it's tough when you get those news, that, this is what we had to do to you. And then when they started preparing you, rolling you down, you start doing your the final paperwork just in case,
That's right.
And it's suddenly in a rush. You do the whole thing, and when you're being rolled down there, and you tell your wife that, well, I really would love to get back to this side again, but there are no guarantees, and you say that possibly the final goodbye. It's not fun. It's definitely not fun. It certainly affects you inside, and you need to muster up that power you have inside of you, together with the power from in my scenario, my wife, and then go through it, and then I have a feeling I brought something back from the other side, I can tell you, which is a strange feeling to have sometimes. But coming back and some of the experiences I had when I woke up the first time, at least I think so. My wife says she saw some of the stuff that happened. I didn't see her. I woke up to seeing things in black and white. That's how I came to. And I knew that they had told me that I might not be breathing too well because I would be on a ventilator, And they said it could be a very nasty experience. And I could try, and if I could communicate with the doctors or nurses to let them know I could breathe on my own. I just wanted that shit out of my throat right away because it was absolutely, I felt like I was being choked to death very slowly.
Yeah.
And I just saw 3 doctors in black and white. It was like an old horror movie, and they were bending it over me. I could have been on a spaceship or whatever. It could have been anything. But it was just a horror scenario from somewhere. I couldn't even describe what it was. But then that they were standing looking at me, and I felt to know and realize and remembering afterward that I begged them to kill me, Had I been able to talk to them, I would have said, will you please end it now? Because this is too fucking much. Please. It was that bad. It was really that bad. Then what happened was I felt them and saw them take I tried to pull it out of my own throat, I started, my hand went up and I tried to pull it out because I had to stop that feeling. And then they just came and they called someone, and my wife said they called extra people in, and they forced me down and tied me down to the bed. And then they gave me something, and I drifted back into the other side or whatever. But that was pretty crazy to wake up that way and actually feel like I was part of Metallica's one video. It felt like that. You're there, you want to communicate, but you have nothing to communicate with. and then you get in that situation where it's just hopelessness, and a slow choke was it felt worse than dying. So please kill me, That's how it felt like, and that's what I thought. My thoughts were exactly that, and that's creepy afterwards when you're through it and you wake up and you go through the tough stuff and you get up and you try to walk with someone else. The first time, 2 days after, I was up trying to walk around intensive care, and then the horror continued, because you hear all these other people experiencing some of what I had experienced. And I could tell you, I had to warn my wife, here comes the nice little thing, yeah. But I mean, like, you walk around intensive care and I hear these other people, no, I want to die, kill me, no, I can't handle it, all this stuff. And I'm walking there trying to walk, to get strength. And I just like, oh my God, I feel with these people, that are going through that stuff now, a day later. They were 1 day behind me or so. And then it's like, you gotta get that willpower up there, and then it's get up, walk, and I did nothing. I was kind of reliving lines from the Sparta Slaughterby album, or The Graveyard. It is with walking the halls at night. That's what I did, I could barely sleep. I woke up in these nightmares. I could maybe sit up and sleep for an hour in the beginning there, because man, you're sitting there, tubes coming out of you everywhere. It's just a nightmare. And you walk with this thing,
Oh, yeah.
You're drop, or whatever you call it, So walking around there, and from nurse station to nurse station, oh, Mr. Peterson can't sleep. I gotta walk, gotta get out of here, So just walk more at night. Everybody else was just sleeping, And 10 days after, I was home, and told by my surgeon that get out and walk today when you get back home. I want you to walk half a mile outside. Like, are you kidding? Are you serious? And that was December, but that doesn't matter, of course. And then came another session, you can say, of weird feelings, and that was the feelings of, am I really here, Because I felt like walking with my wife on the street, and then you see people going to work early in the morning, and it's like, man, I could just as well not have been here.
That's right.
And now I see this, and I went through a period where I had to ask. It might seem silly for some people, but I had to ask my wife and get confirmation that I was there. And it would be touching a feeling, can you feel this when I do this? Can you see me? Can you hear when I say this to you? And she had to confirm those things to me. For real. It was not just a little game, Eventually it's gone way down, and I don't really feel like that anymore. It's so rare. Getting that feel of... wonder if I'm actually here, or am I stuck somewhere, I can't get back in either side, or so, and then I get some of these feelings that I brought something with me from that other side, because I was in surgery for 7.5 hours, and they say I was dead for as it is with that surgery, you're not here really for several hours.
It's true.
And I have that feeling that I brought something with me, and when we did these shows over in Europe, these two festivals, to see if everything was okay to pick everything up again and start going at it again, which we are now. We just confirmed yet another headline for Rock Hard Festival in Germany next summer. We already have confirmed for Finland, Tuska Festival playing, and at the end of August, Bloodstock Festival we're headlining in England. So they're coming. There are more that's going to come next week that I already know of now, but I can't talk about it because I can't reveal which ones it is until the promoters do so themselves first.
Right.
But there's going to be more, and there's going to be a lot more festivals during the summer in Europe. And we just started looking into the U.S. for doing normal shows, but all with full production for next autumn, So we are starting working on that too now. So we're up and running. Andy has signed the new record deal. It's on his way to me. So we are going to be signing on to a brand new record deal for 3 more albums with Metal Blade for the world. But it's not official yet, but it will be very, very soon. So, everything is being done. We have a new King Diamond Coven.com, that's a new fan club. a new internet shop, so the fans can get high quality, non-bootleg merchandise, which we have been so bad at not getting to them. And now it's there too. You know, everything is being done now in a much better way, much higher quality way with everything. We don't play anymore without the full production either. It's so things are changing for the better in so many ways, and in some way this has been you can say a forced break in the career, but if you had to have a break like Brian Slagle told me, then this was the best time you could ever have chosen. Just a weird way, not the best way to do it, but right now, you know, he said your musical style and everything else is really coming full circle in a right way. So we should have some very cool years to come now. And we are certainly in for it, and we can feel it ourselves, you know, in the band. Same lineup still that we had all the way back since Abigail too, you know, and so everything there is just as it should be, you know, and yeah, we're just looking forward to everything. But yeah, we still have weird things following us, you know, that's for sure. I don't know if you have kept up with. I did this show that's called That Metal Show on VH1 Classic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
And we showed a picture there of our actress that seems to be, it's almost like it was taken straight out of the TV series Fringe, you know, if you are familiar with that. It's like she's coming back from another parallel universe. It's a live photo from Sweden Rock Festival that we did a couple of months ago. It shows just her leg.
Wow.
The rest of her is not there. There is, it's from on stage though. I'm sitting, it's a song called Shapes of Black, and I'm sitting down with a lantern, it's towards the end of that song. And they lower the lighting more and more throughout that song, and in the end there's only 4 candelabras that are standing on stage behind me, and then a lantern in my hand, which is the only front light to show, to be able to be lighting up my face. And Jodie Kasha, our actress, is behind me at that point in a full black bodysuit, so she's just a black shape. But at that point, when one of these photos, because I have a series of photos, but one of them suddenly shows only her leg. It's cut off right across the thigh. And there's actually a shadow behind, up against the drum riser, of her leg. No shadow of me, though. But only her, but it's not really her leg. That's the weird thing. If you really look closely at it, it looks like a cloven hoof. And it freaked me out when I saw it first time. It's like, are you kidding, man? Andy was like, well, look at our new stage setup. It's like an antenna for the occult, you know. It really looks dark, than you said, you know. And I felt like when I saw that first time, it was at a hotel in Copenhagen, when I was just going through all the pictures I'd had loaded over onto a computer from a Norwegian friend of ours, Håkon, and he took photos up there. So suddenly I saw this picture. I felt like, God, should I call her at her hotel, another place in Copenhagen, and warn her, be extra careful for the next days or so. I don't want you to lose your leg. It felt like being part of the Omen movie or something. You know?
Right. That's what I was thinking.
You got to tell someone about this stuff because this is just too weird. And we check this out. We uploaded through something, I can't remember what it was called, but my wife, you know, she's the one that does all this computer stuff because I'm pretty illiterate when it comes to that. And she was uploading this picture for the fans to see, and by doing it this way, they could also see all the camera settings because it was a digital camera, so you can't have the double exposure.
Right.
There are lots of things that is not just impossible for that picture to even exist as it does. But we wanted to upload it, and then suddenly she came into where I was and said, you are not going to believe this. The code that I got when I uploaded it says, damn you.
Oh, man.
Okay, they need to relax, you know, because we're doing this for the good of them and everybody else, you know. We are trying to maybe even open a few people's mind to these things, so they need to just take a step back and relax, you know. But that's what it said, DAMMN and then a U.
Wow.
And those people at the site where we uploaded it, they actually contacted us and said, hey, we saw what happened here. just been following because we saw that photo and we thought it was pretty weird. So, and that code it was given there, just want you to know, all codes are completely random and they never form words. There are numbers and all kinds of things in there. So we don't know what happened. Just wanted to tell you, we did not do it.
Wow.
Okay. Well,
that's a goosebumps sort of story.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Gives you the creeps.
Oh, we certainly have these things still. That's for sure. It's attached.
King, when I was younger, I was a teenager, and Chris and I have been friends here since high school. We've known each other, and I've known Johnny too. But Chris and I were like best friends, like brothers, growing up. And I had discovered Merciful Fate through the Melissa album at the local record store. I bought all the indie metal stuff that came out, and I just happened to see this thing. Man, that's the coolest looking cover I've seen for a long time, and I bought it. And I was instantly hooked by the melodies, by your voice especially, and it was just a complete package of awesome. And I took it and I let Chris hear it, and Chris has always been into like kind of dark things, the occult and things like that. But I tell you what, Chris, it creeped you out so bad you were like, I don't know if I can listen to that.
I was big on, at the time, Ronnie James Dio, obviously, and Black Sabbath, and Iron Maiden, and that whole genre. And there was something about the Merciful Fate album that.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not quite sure. It was great, though. And I think that's the album that pushed my parents over
the edge. Turn off the electric lights and light a candle and let that be the only thing, and then just turn it off and sit there and suck it in, and something might happen.
I think that's what we did, actually.
Extra bonus things happening, I certainly have had my big share of these extras happening around whatever we do, I mean, not whatever we do, but a lot of the things, there has been other things coming with it, and that apartment I lived in Denmark was so haunted, I can't even begin to describe it, and a lot of the things in the albums come from there, and overall on the albums, that there's so much more than anyone will ever know that is much closer to experiences I had than not. I mean, there's so much stuff in there that if I started telling people, okay, no, that thing kind of happened, I had to modify to fit a storyline or whatever, but again, and sometimes I feel myself also, after having finished an album and looking through the whole thing, feeling that I gave a little bit of myself, a little bit too much of myself on an album. But then again, who's going to know if I don't tell?
That's true. Yeah.
But there is so much stuff on these albums that is very close to reality, much more than you would ever imagine.
I believe that.
And a lot of it is, some of it's fun, at least I think it was fun. For instance, doing the song Black of Night on the last album, it was one of Andy's songs, and I had to put a certain line in there simply because he got a whack over the back of his head when he was recording guitars here at my house. And he was sitting in the living room on a couch with headphones on, recording guitars. I had a TV on. I was just no sound, just being there in case he needed some input. And suddenly he was just, he pulled the headphones on. Ow! Fuck, I can't believe this. Ow! I said, oh my God, what happened? Did you get a spike or some electric spike in the headphones? Because I had that during a thunderstorm once in the studio. It almost knocked me unconscious. It was so loud. So I thought maybe he had gotten some weird spike, electric spike in the headphones. He said, no, something hit me on the head, man. So that line had to be in the lyrics, which it is now. There's a point in there where it says, something hit me on the head. Just so he'll never forget it, and it's on his song, so he has a little memory there he can bring with him home. And weird enough, Hal said 2 weeks later when he arrived and did his bass lines, when he was done, we sat with a bottle of wine. It was 3 a.m. or so. And then Hal suddenly said, hey, did you ever get hit by something here in King's house? He asked Andy. And Andy said, what do you ask that? That's a weird question. But yeah, 2 weeks ago when I did guitars, something whacked me over the head. And he said, well, yeah, it did happen to me too. Not this time around, but last time.
Wow.
Really? What was that? Oh, he was in the bathroom. He got whacked over the lower back. And he heard it. He heard this, Like,
wow.
Okay, you guys need to behave better, man, or these people will have to come and keep you in check.
Wow.
That is wow. You know, and again, I mean, when you go back to the Chris was talking about the feeling of this music. I mean, I remember the first time it finally I was waiting, and Don't Break the Oath came out. Still, I think one of the top 3 musical achievements in the history of music is Don't Break the Oath. And let me tell you something. That album, even more than Melissa, had that haunting feeling to it, and the songs to this day remain on my playlist. I mean, they're so classic, they're so amazing, and I've got to tell you that that's one of the things, more than anyone I've ever heard, and you know, you've inspired so many people. Like the entire black metal movement is all because of basically of you, and some, to an extent, some Venom, but mainly you. With the corpse paint and everything, and not one of those guys can touch the atmosphere of your albums.
A lot of the things are real, you know. I mean, Welcome Princess of Hell is that described that first out of this world experience I had in that apartment. That was where the glasses, my brother's glass, rose up in thin air, like about 2 feet over the table, full of beer. Though we had not been drinking that day at all. It was Kim Ross was there, and my brother and myself. And we had just picked up the first demo of Merciful Fate, and we were sitting there waiting for, you know, what's going to happen now? Do we play it, or do we wait for Hank and Michael and Timmy to get there too? So we waited, and suddenly my brother's glass started rising up in thin air. I took it as if these powers said, hey, we're here with you, and congratulations, and we'll be with you if you want for the future. That's how I took it. And it ended up on Don't Break the Oath eventually as we raise our glasses.
Right.
That little part there, you know, and it inspired the floating teacups, you know, but of course I could have done that no matter what. But that was, the things meant so much more to me when I sang it, because I could relate to it in a whole different way. And so it's been with so many things. I mean, that nightmare described in there, I had that nightmare, you know, I really did see, that was my brother in the nightmare that was on a bed opposite my bed in our old bedroom. And then these cloak-dressed people came in and came over and formed a circle around my bed and pointed at me and said, "You're only living on borrowed time from your fate," you know. And so when I woke up with that, I had to write that line down. That was straight out of a dream, you know. And there's been so much that is like that throughout all the albums. I mean, I had a wolf called Angel, for real, you know, only for a year. But from it was a little puppy kind of, you know, and then up till it was 1 year old, it was up to my hip over the back. I mean, I couldn't have it at my house any longer. It was a gift for my ex-wife back when, you know, and I couldn't believe those people did that, but I really bonded pretty closely with that wolf playing out in the yard and all this stuff, and but it got too big. I mean, the neighbors must have known there was a wolf in there, because when an ambulance went by in the distance, the wolf would start howling. Didn't sound anything like a dog, I can tell you. It was, but eventually it had to be given back to that pack that it came from, you know, and it was taken back in there, no problem. But it was wrong to give as a present, you know. But it happened, and made the best out of it, you know. But the wolf was named Angel.
Wow!
And so that was taken straight into the story of House of God.
Right. Wow. And I got to tell you, to this day, we look forward to each new album because it's like a new movie almost. Your albums are like the musical equivalent of our favorite horror movies and suspense films. And starting with Fatal Portrait, I was worried because I had heard that Merciful Fate was no more, and I was really, really depressed about it, really downtrodden. I was like, what am I going to do? This is, you know, I look so forward to each Merciful Fate release, and to you know, and then all of a sudden, Fatal Portrait came out, and all my fears were put to rest because that album just, I mean, it was above and beyond, I thought, what Merciful Fate had done. You went in some new directions, and you just opened up musically into a whole new universe. And from there, it just got better and better and better. And even now, with the last work you've done, and with you know, you released the double CD pack where one of the CDs was you telling these amazing ghost stories, and the other one was the music, and all of it is just like continuing to grow and evolve. And man, I got to thank you for all your dedication, because thanks to you, we've really enjoyed.
It's a joint venture, because without you guys and everyone else that likes what we do, we would not be doing it. I mean, it's a thing where it's like bouncing off each other, you know. If we don't do that, it stops. Yeah. So it's it's definitely a joint venture, and getting the feedback and get the power to go through this stuff. I got a letter that I read today from a Finnish fan. He probably will not hear this, but an amazing story of how he used us to get through some extremely hard times with cancer and all that stuff. And he's still here, in this world with his fiancée now, and after all his operations and this and this and that, he's still going on. And he just bought his ticket for the Finnish show. So I hope to get a chance. I will definitely make my biggest effort to try and get to meet him,
Oh, that's great.
So that's what, and I talked to Andy about it too, and we're both going to try and see if we can hook up with him, maybe the day before the show or something like that. But he will, if he doesn't hear it here, he will find out when we contact him, So, but that was an amazing story too. But there's so much stuff, that goes into the whole King Diamond world, which consists of all of you guys and us and the whole thing, And it's a world that is very. Even though it has so much otherworldly stuff in it, it has so much from this world too, And in some ways, it's very, very down to earth. I can tell you, because it feeds off everyday life so much, and then it has that mix of the other side,
Right. And I know, Johnny, you've been a long-time King Diamond fan as well, and he has like your favorite drummer of all time work with him, Mickey D.
Yeah. Yeah, my first experience was them, and I remember it was funny. I had an audition for a band, and they wanted me to learn "Welcome Home."
Oh, wow.
And I was like, it took me like a month just to figure out what he was doing, and then I wound up learning it. And I got to tell you, listening to that, listen to the albums. I mean, it opened up my mind to a whole different style. A whole different way of thinking about music, and I just got to tell you, it was a wonderful experience to really listen to that and then be able to say, hey, this is kind of the way I need to go.
Yeah.
A lot of what we do is, I wouldn't say a lot of it, because 100% is feel. It has to feel right. And we will do things that feels right that might feel wrong to those that can read music and no, you don't do that, and that's not right. Like, it sounds killer to me. So, I can't read music, for instance. I write 75% of our music, but I can't read music. I don't know what it is or what it's called, what I'm doing. I know what, an E string and A string. Somewhere there's a D string too and a G string. I don't know. G strings are for women, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what you call these things. Andy might say, well, what is that called? Is it this minor, whatever? And it's like, look here, this is what it looks like. Oh, is that what you're doing? Yeah. And then on the other side, it plays this chord, and combined, it sounds like you hear. Oh, it's two chords together that forms that kind of thing. Okay, because I didn't have enough fingers for that chord, he felt like. And, okay, yeah. So it's, if it feels right, we do it. That song I mentioned earlier, Shapes of Black, for instance, there's a weird thing at the end of it. The way that it fades out. There's guitars are playing canon,
Uh-huh.
Da-na, I think it is the behind that keyboard theme. But they play the same two notes, but in canon. And those two notes to each other are half notes, only a half step down on the guitar neck. So when note one is played on one guitar and it switches down to note two, the other guitar starts on note one. That means they are playing at the same time, a half note apart. It should sound absolutely disgusting. It should make the hair stand on the back of your skull, But it doesn't. It sounds beautiful.
Agreed.
And they're played at the exact same spot on the guitar neck. So, and I asked Andy, I said, well, this much I know. Shouldn't this be absolutely the most disharmonic you ever heard? And he said, yes. Explain to me why it sounds good. I can't, he said. I don't know. It shouldn't. It absolutely shouldn't. I don't know. Don't ask me. But it's on there, and it sounds perfect. I would never have tried that because I would have known, no, you can't do that.
Yeah, exactly.
But since I can, I will try anything. We never leave stones unturned. Someone has an idea, we'll test it. We never say, no, you can't do that because, no, we'll try it, and then we'll make up our mind.
And that's the way it should be, because like Johnny was saying, it sounds so darn good.
Yeah, and that's what makes it so special than from something. I mean, there's nothing like it out there.
That's right. It's so much passion, so much heart and soul that you put into every note, and we can feel it, King. I mean, even back, I had such a kick. I remember the No Presents for Christmas, and I thought that was just on par with Nuns Have No Fun, as just a fun departure in a way, because they were like, let's let our hair down and just have a good time with this song, and yet at the same time,
there's a lot of irony too here and
Exactly.
there. You know, there are things that look at the graveyard. I mean, tongue in cheek, the grave digger. You know, he already had one foot in the grave. He's standing there digging graves.
Yep.
I helped him get in the other.
That's right.
Saying I killed him in a very weird way, but it's kind of a fun way to say it, I think. You know, so there's so much stuff there. There's the crazy sickness, but it's humorous because it's so crazy and out there. When on the graveyard, I try to bury the little girl so that her dad can come and play the game of trying to find the grave that she's in.
Uh-huh.
And when I'm about to put her down into her grave, she starts crying. And this crazy song comes out, little girls from head to toe. You know, you don't do that. You don't sing a thing like that. Sing a thing like that to a little girl that is crying her heart out. It's so far from reality to do that. But this guy is really removed very far from reality because of some other people, what they did to or had done to him, you know. So
right.
But when you hear it and you hear the words that are being sung by this lunatic, you know, when he's hoisting this little girl into this grave, it's almost funny because it's so sick, you know.
It is. It's like a dark humor. I agree. It's got that edge.
Extremely. Yeah, extremely, yeah.
Very much so. And
there are many ways you can explain things, you know, and then where you don't go, you know, you stop the details sometimes because, I mean, you can create much better horror with your own mind than I can create for you.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
You can always, I mean, if I started describing how a spider would have been lying on a pillow when I turned over in my sleep and I squished it, you know, with between my cheek and the pillow. I mean, yeah, it's pretty gross, most people would think, but you will know what kind of spider you hate the most. So if it was one of those, it would just be much worse than if I said a specific spider that did it.
Right.
If I said, oh, it was the daddy long neck, oh yeah, they're scary, yeah. But, you know, it might be the worst one for you. So very often you can create those better than I can, and you need to know when to stop trying to go into detail with things, you know, and let the listener take over, and because they can create much worse nightmares for themselves than I can.
I got to tell you, the Spider's Lullaby gave me creeps for weeks. I mean, when I found out that the guy had spiders' little hatching eggs in his neck, I thought I was going to freak out for real. It was just unbelievable. That was just, and the visuals that pop into your head, like you said, my imagination was so much worse. And yeah,
you get stung by a mosquito or something, and you sit there. Oh God, I hope nothing comes out of that little thing. I hope it was a mosquito, right? And unless you're living here in Dallas, that's been pretty bad with that West Nile virus there.
That's terrible.
You have to protect yourself when you take a walk. You know, you walk in long sleeves in 35 degrees. You know.
Yep.
But that's the draw. I mean, that's the draw towards this kind of music. It's, you know, exercising the imagination and going places where other music wouldn't go. I mean, you know, it kind of started. I don't know who influenced you as a vocalist, but I'm sure, you know,
lots.
Robert Plant, Ronnie James Dio, Ian Gillan,
of course,
Rob Halford.
Absolutely.
You know, all those.
You
guys.
got it. Yeah, all those. Absolutely, all those, and many more. Alice Cooper too. His way of putting himself in a situation and make you believe he's actually there. When he sits there, I put pennies on your eyes. You know, it's like, wow. He's really deep into this feeling of sitting with this body and, you know, saying farewell and putting pennies on the eyes and just. But he certainly can put himself into these situations and make you believe that he's there. He's experiencing this as you're listening to it. So he's also a master of you know, you can say, like, creating moods and atmospheres. So he's a big inspiration too. Different vocal style, absolutely. I mean, most people you can hear, of course, things. Was it David Byron was the guy that was the lead vocalist for Uriah Heep for a while? And he's not here anymore. That's my all-time favorite singer. Simply because of his range, his feel he could put into his voice. Amazing singer, absolutely amazing. Not with horror, but with arranging vocals, range, choirs. Ken Hensley was a great backup vocalist too. In Uriah Heep, who did some of the harmonies live with him and all this stuff. So, I mean, but he's my all-time favorite as a vocalist. But then you mentioned a bunch of these others that are right there too.
It's true, and the cool thing is you also are a lot of people's favorite vocalist. To me, the two greatest vocalists, and Chris always slaps me for this because he loves Dio so much, but for me, the two greatest vocalists of all time, Bruce Dickinson, King Diamond, right there, together. And you guys are just fantastic. Now, King, I know we're winding down. Before we go, I want to make sure that we get all your information out there for people to keep up with you, websites and all that. Go ahead and inform all of our friends out there. Where can they find all the great news about King Diamond today?
Well, you go to kingdiamondcoven.com. That's where the fan club is, and there are links to all kinds of stuff. You can see where we're going to play, what shows are coming up, all kinds of stuff. Videos are there to be seen. The crazy photo I told you about should be somewhere there too. I know it's been up on our Facebook, and all the links to the Facebook and other things. There's a YouTube channel too with interviews from some of the other guys, and so. But that's the main thing, kingdiamondcoven.com. That's where you can have the big hub, and then you can go to all kinds of places from there. And the shop you can get to as well from there. So.
Good. That's where the shop is. That's what I was going to say. And also DVDs. We're ready for some DVDs. Are we going to get to see a King Diamond release on DVD soon?
Well, the thing is that the whole scene changes, and we were working a lot on a lot of stuff, as you know, in the past. We have some rare things. Some of that stuff might be just given out down the road as bonus stuff if we can get it up to a certain quality, It's too much work right now because after these tests went so well, we have so much more to do now that is higher priority than getting a DVD out, And the thing is that some of the shows we played over here recently, you can find them up on YouTube.
That's true.
I know it's bootleg and stuff, but now we're getting to a point in the music business where even the record labels say, why should we do a DVD, record a video, when as soon as you play it, there is 50 of whatever show you play.
Yeah.
They're there the next day. Different quality levels, whatever, but people can search through and see and get all the different angles they want. It's almost a waste to try and do it and try and actually record with real cameras and crews and all this stuff, because it costs way too much for what you get in. You don't sell much. And that's what they say. So it's almost like, hey, yeah, okay, record it. Why don't you have more friends with cameras? Bring them, come on, record it, everybody. It's almost like that feel now that, forget the bootleg stuff with the video stuff, because you can't stop it, so you might as well use it. And then say, okay, the more that has it, the more that it goes out there, the more chance there is that people will see it,
That's
and
true.
Then be getting interested in it that way. So that's kind of a way to look at it now, that simply because of how the business is, that it's really hard to come out with a DVD and get it to sell well.
Yeah, that makes sense. That does make sense. And
some of the things might come out with an album as a bonus, but you don't even pay for it.
There you go. Yeah.
Becomes part of the whole thing. That okay, we got to get some bonus stuff out with the albums. And there we have several of different ideas. Of what to do. Make sure that people go out and buy the disc. They get something unique that you cannot get otherwise. Something that is not downloadable, stuff like that, so that you feel that okay, this is really something that is making that little I paid today for a compact disc, worth it, because I really get something for my money now. And you have to do those things. That's the way it is.
I agree. I agree. Man King, thank you so much. Thank you for making this, honestly, the greatest Halloween I can remember since I was a little kid. This is fantastic. You are an icon and a personal inspiration for me and an idol of mine, and I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to be here with us today.
Thank you guys, all you man. Big time.
You have a great, wonderful Halloween, my friend.
Same to you. Happy Halloween.
Thank you.
Take care.
Hello, you maniacs of the dark. This is King Diamond, and you're listening to Nightwatch. You better keep hanging here.
Yay, my goodness. That was fantastic.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Oh, my guys. Right now, I can barely contain myself. I feel like I might explode right here at the table.
You look like you might explode.
Yeah, you
It's
do.
going to be the scene out of Monty Python, the wafer thin mint. It's going to happen right here. It's
Boom.
Oh my goodness. I mean, I am just like all aflutter. I'm sweating profusely. It's insane.
Great, nice guy.
Oh, amazing guy. See, you never knew, Chris, when you were frightened. I remember your face.
That was really cool, actually.
It was cool, but you still were freaked out. I tell you what, it's like that first Venom album I ever got. When I threw it out in the backyard and my dog pooped on it.
There's your sign.
I was like, what was I, like 14, 13, something like that. I got that first Venom album, and it was like so scary and so creepy. I didn't know what to do. I was kind of afraid to
It
have
had
it
an
in the
upside down
house.
cross on it.
Yeah, At War with Satan, and I threw it out in the backyard, and I was like, I went out to get it later. The dog had pooped on it. It was like, forget it. I guess I can't return it, and I can't listen to it.
Nice.
So it was all over. And then I went and bought another one because for some reason,
he was lured to it. See,
was he?
After the first listen, he thought, I listened to it that one time, but I have to buy another one now because I have to listen to it again.
Yes.
And that was the funniest part too, because I told Chris, I said, "Dude, you ain't gonna believe what I did." Well, what'd you do? I went up to Camelot last night and got another copy of Venom. And he just shook his head and he goes, "What's wrong with you?" And I just couldn't because something about the album kind of made me want to kind of listen to it again.
Right.
Well, that Merciful Fate Melissa album, when you're hearing that and he goes into that, I mean, here you are, at that time, you got to remember, I was quite young, and this was at a time in the world when it was okay to scare the hell out of people without, but still, he was like, dude, chills are running up and down your spine. And you're like sure that there's going to be devils in the closet, and all of a sudden. And this really did happen. All of a sudden, my closet, I hear clam, and I had these glass sliding closet doors right in the middle of the song Melissa. Crack! One of those doors. Remember that, Chris? The sliding doors busted, just busted, cracked right at the bottom, across the bottom of the glass. Dude, I stood up, took that album off, and put it over on the other side of the room, inside of a box, and didn't open it for a week. That was the freakiest, and it turned out, of course, that my closet was just so full of crap that it just was only a matter of time. And my mom, when she walked through the house, was like a thundering herd of elephants. So, the shaking vibrations of her going down the hall, I guess, did it. But to me, it was all about Melissa. And right when he said Satan's cross upon the wall, and everything fell and broke the glass.
And it could have been.
You just don't know.
The time.
It could have been either one.
Could have been.
There ain't no coulda about it. There was. We'd play these albums in his room, and boy, strange stuff would happen.
Oh, it was even worse. We'd go for walks with the Kenwood, and we each had headsets hooked into it. Remember that?
Yeah.
And because it was one of those really nice Kenwood cassette players with 2 inputs, and Chris and I would walk, with these headphones on, and we're walking down. We'd been at Antioch Mall or whatever, going to a movie. It's midnight. We're walking the back roads there up by Antioch and listening to that. And you could just swear. Suddenly, you're surrounded by fog. The night just got a lot darker. And there's just something that you can hear through the music walking behind you.
And your steps would get a little faster. And
pretty soon.
How far is the house? And we'd be running down the road.
Pretty soon I'd have a headset swinging and wham, because Chris would be down there.
But you're right,
stretching that headset out.
It is something about the music, because I remember the first time I heard it, I went into a friend's apartment, and they had the whole place dark, few candles lit, and I'm listening to this. I'm like, what is this? And it was freaking me out, and it was King Diamond them, and I was like...
And you were a nice little Christian boy at the time. I know you were.
Yeah, I was always the control group,
So I know.
But no, it totally compelled me, man. I was like, I have to listen to this. And then I got addicted to it. I got to get the next CD, the next one. And then I started going, oh, wait, he was a Merciful Fate? Let me go grab that. But you're right, though, because I'd remember when I would put that on, your bedroom would always seem darker.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you could put that on and always like you could light the candle or whatever, but it's like the minute that music went, the room had that darker feel to it.
You know you're in trouble whenever the damned candle goes out whoosh, right in the middle of the song. It's like, okay.
And you're trying to get across the room to get the light back on.
And the thing is, Them was a fantastic album. Them was telling a fantastic horror story.
Yes.
But it didn't have that dark edge like Don't Break the Oath or Melissa. Those two just had this unheard of quality and this darkness to them that really the only album that's ever come close to that just dark ambience for me was Mayhem's De Mysterious Dom Satanas album. And that album is ungodly because I don't think there's a human singing on that album. I think that's a channeled demon or something. It's that creepy.
Yeah.
But King Diamond had these layered vocals going on that with these melodies that you just... It stepped right out of your worst nightmare, but also your favorite horror movie. So that's what I think, for Chris and I anyway, hooked us immediately because those two albums were like nothing else at the time. Now, by the time Them came out, there were other people kind of mimicking King Diamond. But
different albums have different personalities. Every album has its own personality.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Black Sabbath, Heaven and Hell, okay, great album, right? And then, Mob Rules came out, and that album had a completely
it like punched you in the face,
different feel to it. But Mob Rules was an evil album.
It was. You just felt something hit you in the eye, and then Born Again. We won't even go.
Well,
into
that was a little weird, actually.
Your whole head spun around while you listened to Born Again, and green soup was shooting out of your eye. It was terrifying.
Still one of my favorites.
But it was still a little bit different with Diamond, like because during that time you had Motley Crue, you had all Wasp, but I mean they stage performance. You got into Diamond, and this guy's the real deal.
Oh, yeah.
That he's not playing around. Is more kind of like everybody else would put on the makeup and go on stage, and it was more like he was just walking on stage.
Well, that's the thing, yeah, because you're absolutely right. And back when MTV would actually play a decent video once in a while, and they would have the Halloween deal.
Oh, yeah.
And always they'd play King Diamond on Halloween, and they had the Welcome Home and all those songs, the Family Ghost and these songs. The thing that got me was you're watching those videos, and like you said, it almost felt like, okay, this guy, this is who this guy is.
This is who he is, yeah.
You never really saw him much without the makeup and here and there, but mostly you saw him with the makeup, and you're kind of thinking, okay, Kiss is Kiss. We know they go home at night and take off the makeup and crank out some starlets. This guy doesn't. This guy goes to his coven when he leaves the stage, and
especially when you had all the TV evangelists that were all
Bob
like
Larson and those guys,
the back masking, and but with that guy, you're like, this isn't playing.
He doesn't need to back mask it. He just came right out and slapped you in the face with the Satan's cross on the wall.
That's right. No back masking there.
No.
So, that's everybody else pretended to be evil. Then King Diamond came out and kicked him right in the nuts.
Well, I think and you go back and listen to, and I think, like you said, and especially after hearing him say that so many of that was out of his life experience.
And now
and it really kind of sets the mood when you listen to it, and it always kind of did, where you have these guys playing this persona, and they're doing these songs, and they're coming up with these rock albums and these operas, and they're trying to mimic it. But then when you listen to his, you hear that truth.
Oh, yeah.
There's truth behind there. And really, it was great to hear him say, hey, most of the stuff is from my life experience.
But at the same time, you're kind of thinking, oh, my.
Right.
But that's the greatest thing about it. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Confirmation, because as I was listening to those songs, I tell you what, they felt real to me.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That passion he pours out of his voice, he shrieks like a demon possessed. It goes right into that growl, and he has all those octaves in between, and you're just like, this guy is like no one else. And so tonight here on Nightwatch, we were able to bring King Diamond to our friends.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, what an incredible evening here on Nightwatch. The Festival of Fear has come to a close.
Oh. The spectacular is over.
But what a wonderful time we had, really.
Oh, gee.
What would we do, man, without it? It was just a fantastic, wonderful job, Amanda, this month. Good job. Good job.
But I'll have to sleep too.
We had such an amazing job. Honestly, it has been what an incredible season this year, guys. I survived the nightmare of almost dying. I've had a wonderful holiday. Great Halloween. I've made it another Halloween. And all of those great friends of ours worldwide, thank you so much for sharing your lives and your Halloween with us. Without you, there'd be no reason to do it. Thanks to our affiliates for allowing our friends to hear us every week. That's a wonderful gift that we appreciate very much. And wow, another Halloween, guys.
Hey.
And closing out the show tonight, guys. I don't know if anyone expected this or not, but here it is. Extra special deal, okay? Closing out the show tonight, we have King Diamond telling the story of the Puppet Master.
Good evening. I'm King Diamond. I'm here to tell you the story of the Puppet Master. We're in Budapest, in Hungary. It's the 18th century. I'm going to tell you what it was like for me when I first time saw this absolutely fantastic puppet show with these puppets that are almost human size. It's Christmas. It's snowy, it's cold outside. There are lines and lines of people outside waiting to get in. This show has been sold out for so long. The people are waiting to get into the theater. I'm there in line, and it's dark and cold. Perfect night for a Christmas show. When I finally get in there, sit among the people, there is this strange, tense feeling as we are waiting, anticipating the curtain to fall. We've heard so much about these puppets on stage that it's magical. You can't believe what you're seeing. And suddenly it's like, whoa, shh, here come the puppets, you know. And I start looking over in the wing, and I notice, wait a minute, I think I see a few shadows over there. Maybe there's some of the puppets sitting over there, waiting to walk in. And then I see the puppet master come up the stairs, and there is like this walkway high above, almost up by the ceiling. And there he operates all these strings and stuff. And he actually leads a couple of puppets in on stage, like, wow, there they are, one, there's two, three puppets coming in line. And halfway through the show, this really strange thing happens. The puppets are moving and doing things, and they look so lifelike. The skin, you know, is like, it looks like human skin. And suddenly the puppet master, he drops all the strings. They land on the floor, and the puppets that was like standing there with these strings, now they're on the floor. They just stand like this still. Nothing happens to them. And then they start to move. The little drummer boy is one of the puppets up there, and I'm looking at him, I'm like, oh my, no way. It's almost like his eyes are looking straight at mine. Can't be real. And then I suddenly see that on the skin of his hands, there's a little cut. And I see blood from this cut. And that can't be real. That can't be. This is too weird. And then he starts playing his drum. And it scares me because this is too much magic. And I do believe in magic. The other people in here don't quite believe that this could be magic. And then at the end of the show, we hear about the puppet master coming down from his walkway, taking the bow with what he calls his children, all these almost life-size puppets. It's after the show, it's outside, it's cold, it's damp. I've just gotten outside the door. Victoria, who is another main character in the story, has walked out on the other side. And we're standing there just waiting, and the people are walking out of the theater. They're all heading for home. And they, like I said before, they don't believe that what they saw was magic. But we do, both of us. And for some weird reason, we are getting drawn to each other, looking into each other's eyes, realizing that we have everything in common that we would want to have in common. We're getting drawn so close that I can feel there is something else between us. There's some kind of, I would call it evil, surrounding especially me. I feel something on my shoulder, as if one of the spirits from the theater has come out with me and is now sitting on my shoulder, a puppet spirit.
We'll be here next week. Once again, next week we celebrate Halloween anyway in protest.
Oh, yes.
And we'll wear some costumes and have a good time and have another great night watch for all of our friends out there. Until next time, everybody, thank you so much for being here.
Good night, everyone.
Speak to you later.
And pleasant Halloween nightmares. Oyasumi Nasai. Nightwatch is a Jackalope Media production with your hosts Todd Sheets, Chris Weisbach, Hugh McClanahan, and Johnny Reed. Featuring voice work from September Day and production by Amanda P.
Watching her strolling in the night, so white, wondering why it's only after dark. In her eyes, a distant firelight burns bright, wondering why it's only after dawn. I find myself in her room, feel the fever of my doom, falling through the floor. I'm knocking on the devil's door, yeah. In the dawn, I wake up to find her gone, and a note says only after dark. Burning, burning in the flame. Now I know her secret name. You can tear her temple down, but she'll be back and rule again, yeah. In my heart, a deep and dark and lonely part wants her and waits for after dark, after dark.